So this is Xerxes Antia, who is currently working as the Chief Operating Officer of 70 Events Media Group. All right. So Xerxes, can you give us a brief introduction of your career so far?
Sure. Hi, Johan. I think Johan's roped me in to kind of talk you guys through the event management option as a career. So I'll talk about my career. It started about 20 years ago. And in those days, event management was not as big an industry as it is today. You know, and uh, it's just the event management industry over the last 20 years has grown leaps and bounds. Even today, it grows at the rate of about 25% annually. You know? And the business today is at about 10,000 crores. And like you see, every day there is an event happening. Every brand wants to do an event. Every in every industry, in every thing, there's an event happening. There are social events happening. You know, if you've heard, there's so many wedding planners which come in the market every other day. So the event industry is growing, and it's become more professional. It's become huge, if I would put it in simple words. You know? So when we started as four people who just got together and started doing events. In those days, we started. Coca-Cola had just launched in the country, and we started doing some activation for them. Slowly, we started doing some activation for ITC, and we started off our careers. And today we are about 100 people, and we specialize in luxury event management is how we like to position ourselves, because these days really important how you position yourself as a company, because there's so many different kind of event management verticals which you could take up as your career. So we kind of positioned in that corporate space. So we do a lot of corporate events, we do festivals, we do institutional events is what we specialize in. So we have a lot of clients in the auto space. So we have clients like Harley Davidson, Honda, Skoda, BMW, MG Motors. In the lifestyle space, we worked with Zara, H&M, Christian Dior, Hermes, Hindustan Lever. We do a lot of fashion work. We've done work for Lakme Fashion Week, Amazon India Fashion Week. We do work for Sabyasachi. We work for Manish Malhotra. Um, in the tech space, we've done work for Facebook, Snapchat. So yeah, loads of corporate clients. We have a wedding division called Seven Steps, and we do luxury weddings. So again, in the wedding space, there's medium-sized weddings and large-scale weddings. We do about 4 to 5 large-scale weddings a year, because weddings is a separate vertical itself, and it takes up a lot of time in terms of servicing a client. So yeah, we kind of stick to about 4 to 5 weddings a year. We've done weddings in Europe, we've done weddings in North America, we've done weddings in Asia, and of course, India is a big destination by itself. So a lot of weddings in Rajasthan, Goa. So that's how, and it's an interesting field, you know, because every day we're doing different kind of events. You know, today you could be working on an auto client, tomorrow you could be working on a fashion show, uh, you could be working for Facebook. So yeah, it's different. You're meeting all kinds of people, all kinds of clients. So yeah, it's an interesting career. That's what I think.
All
So
right.
yeah, so let me
So
talk
what are, yeah,
about
no problem. Sorry, sorry.
let me talk to you all about the different kind of events and the different kind of opportunities you have in the event industry. So, like I was talking about, corporate events is what we do. There's something called activation. Is what there are companies which specialize in these verticals. So I'll run you through the different verticals which are there. So one is activation, one is corporate events, third is trade shows and exhibitions, MICE events, live events, which includes festivals, live shows, and lastly is special events, where you would, which is weddings and private events. Those are different verticals in the event industry. Uh, let's talk about the first one, activation. Activation is when you go to a mall, you see somebody giving you samples of say little perfumes, or there's sampling. You'll see a car display in a mall where the guy comes and talks to you about the car. So that's called activation. So you have mall activation, you have rural activation. So when you say rural activation, so for example, Colgate wants to sample their new toothpaste in 1 lakh villages across the country. So that's what you do. You take a little jeep, you drive into villages, maybe do a little puppet show, put a little sound system, do a little puppet show, talk about the product, pack up, go to the next village. Mall activations, I'm sure you'll have seen. You've been to malls, you'll have seen what happens in malls. There are different brands trying to promote their products through sampling, through giving away free stuff. So that's called activation. So there are companies which actually just specialize in activation. Then the second one is corporate events. Is when a brand hires you to do an event in a venue for a private audience. So, for example, let's talk about MG Motors launching the new car, and we hire a 5-star hotel ballroom, and we do an event there for 500 people, 1,000 people, where they invite the media, they invite dealers. So you have a stage, you launch the product there, the car there, and that's an event there. So that's what we specialize in corporate events. Uh, of course, in every field and every vertical, your creative inputs is what makes a difference, right? Because you're pitching against 5 companies, and your creativity is what makes you win the pitch. Thirdly is trade shows and exhibitions. There are loads of exhibitions which happen in the country, from B2B, B2C. You have auto exhibitions, you have jewelry, lifestyle, electronics. In fact, now for the last couple of years, there are gaming exhibitions which are happening. I don't need to tell you much about that, because I mean, it's simple. You go to an exhibition, you go to different booths, you see the products, you buy them. Where you come in as an event manager is selling the booths, managing the exhibition, managing registration, managing crowd flow. These exhibitions could hold up to 10,000 people coming on a single day. So that's a separate vertical. There are companies which specialize in just trade shows and exhibitions. Fourth is MICE events. MICE stands for meeting, incentives, conferencing, exhibitions, where you take people out of the country for a conference. So to give you an example, if Asian Paints, for example, takes their dealers uh, to Australia for a 3-day conference. So say you're a dealer, you hit their sales target. As a reward, they take you to Australia for 2 days, 3 days, where there's a little conference, there's lots of partying. So there are companies which just specialize in MICE events. Fifth is live events, concerts, festivals, which has become really huge in the last decade, I would say. When I started my career, there were not too many live events which used to happen, but now there are festivals happening every month, I would say. So you're aware of Sunburn, NH7, Sula Fest, uh, U2Pick came now to India. Before that, Coldplay had come. So there are all kinds of festivals which happen. So we as a company do a festival called India Bike Week, which is a biking festival which happens in Goa, where about 10,000 bikers come over 2 days. There's music, there's bike stunts, there's vintage bikes on display, there's cinema. So that's a biking festival which we manage. Then there is a food festival which we do, in which we just started doing last year called X Food. There's something called Zambala which we do, which is a yoga festival. So everyone now wants to experience things. Everyone wants to head out. People don't want to just go to malls. People want to experience things. So there are loads of festivals which are happening across the country. So that's another space which is really big and which is growing really fast. And lastly is the special events and wedding business. The wedding business, you'll be surprised, in India itself is a $50 billion business. So if you're a wedding planner, you're just doing wedding planning. You know, the phrase, the big fat Indian wedding, right? So Indian weddings are huge. I mean, people wait for their children to get married, and that's the big occasion in Indian family. So yeah, people have started hiring wedding planners. So we've done weddings in Europe, like I said, we've done weddings in Southeast Asia, Rajasthan. We as a company do about 4 to 5 big weddings because it takes up a lot of time. Servicing Indian family could take up a lot of time. So yeah, that's again. But what weddings really allows you to do is it just lets you do creatively. It gives you a lot of freedom because, like I said again, the wedding budgets are big, so you can do a lot of stuff. With corporates, it's always about budgets and things like that. So you're kind of constrained. But with the Indian weddings, you can do big stuff. So these are the kind of verticals you could choose to be. So there are a lot of companies which, for example, us, we do corporate events, we do festivals and weddings. So we have separate teams which kind of manages these three verticals. There are companies who only do weddings or who only do activation. There are companies who only do exhibitions. So as a career, you could choose where your interests lie, and you could go and apply to these companies, and you could decide where you want to take your career. There are event management institutes now offering courses, full-time courses on event management, which you could look them up. So yeah, those are the kind of events which you could kind of do as a career. I think it's fantastic. And like you must have figured, everything is different. It gives you creative freedom. It gives you chance to do different things on different days. It's not a monotonous job. So yeah,
All right. So, what are
yeah.
the skill sets it takes to be successful in event management?
What are the skill sets? I think creativity for sure. Uh, Creativity, uh, being street smart because you need to deal with all kinds of people because be dealing with your vendors up to your clients. So yeah, I think the kind of the opportunities in an event management company would be from you could start from being an operations person where you learn on ground about technicals, about production, and then you could be a project manager where you're going to deal with the creative teams and clients, or you could just straight go into the creative department and start with brainstorming ideas on how to launch products. What's also a required skill set in the design team is 2D and 3D designs. So computer graphics, 3D animation is what people we have in organizations. Interior designers, because in the wedding space, we're always doing space designing. So we're looking for interior designers who are interested in doing wedding planning. So yeah,
All right. So, what guidance are you looking to give some students who are interested in this type of business?
I think hard work, that's the most important thing. What I've realized today is the hard work and patience. You can't become an event manager overnight. It's not like you've just finished your MBA and you're going to become the head of the company, right? It doesn't work like that. So I think in the event management space, there is a lot of things you learn through experience, on ground experience. So I think patience, hard work, and willing to get your hands dirty.
All right. So, thank you for that great advice and your great insight into your type of business. So, thank you, Xerxes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Johan.